I just finished the Beginner Survival Japanese Part 1 course on Speak. Oh yeah. So yeah, very, very similarly structured to the beginner level Korean course that I also did a review on. I'm gonna structure this review pretty much the exact same way. So I'm gonna go over the pacing, the structure, who this course is for, and then some areas of improvement. So in terms of pacing, I think this is really well paced. Once again, they did a great job. The first unit is just for like essential travel phrases. Like if I was going to Japan in like a week, I could probably just do this unit and survive. Now, it wouldn't be like the best experience, but you could definitely just learn these like some greetings, how to ask if things exist, and then make basic requests. And yeah, that's like really all you need. And then you could use Google Translate for the rest. So yeah, in terms of pacing, I think you could get through each a full lesson, which I'm gonna call like everything in each little uh I don't know, like set of concepts that it teaches you, and then like all the exercises that follow with that concept. I'm gonna count that as one lesson. I would say that you could get through that in like 10 to 15 minutes, um, provided you're like taking your time to drill it. You could also just split this up with like doing a video lesson in the morning, and then do like the speaking drill in like the middle of the day, and then doing the final like tutor Q&A or chatbot interaction like at the end of the day. It's really up to you and like how much time you have to set aside for these lessons, but they're very much bite-sized, and you could do them like in between like little chunks of free time that you have, honestly, and it doesn't feel overwhelming at all. So in terms of the structure, it's mostly the same as the beginner Korean course in that there's like a video lesson, a speaking drill, like a vocab builder, and then to finish the lesson, it's like the tutor Q&A, which I just called the chatbot interaction because that simulates like a real life conversation you would have where the AI is talking to you, and you're not gonna necessarily understand everything it says to you. Luckily, they have like the translation feature and the romanization, so you could see what is said to you. But what I really like is that it won't include too many unknown words, but it will include words you haven't heard before, because that's what you would encounter in a real life scenario. You got to use like context clues to infer what is being said, and then there's also going to be like some words that your ears have already been trained on from the video lessons and speaking drills and stuff that you'll be able to pick up on. So I think, yeah, I think the tutor Q&A is probably the best practice, to really simulate like what a conversation would go like. One distinct thing here that is, not in the Korean course is that they integrate some hiragana lessons in each unit, which I thought was really nice. Luckily, I already knew hiragana and katakana prior to taking this course on this app specifically, but it was definitely a nice refresher because the way they teach the hiragana is they like associate it to like some sort of emoji, and yeah, I appreciated some of the images they helped you associate with the character. I actually started memorizing the hiragana better after these lessons, and yeah, it's always nice to just get some practice in with reading. I have a feeling once you go to the intermediate course, they're gonna start using it more, and using less romanization in the lessons. So I feel like they're just prepping you as a beginner to just get used to seeing those characters. So in terms of who this course is for, I would say it's for anyone who has zero exposure to Japanese and they have like a trip to Japan coming up that they want to prepare for. As someone who has been to Japan this past year, they definitely are, don't know that much English outside of like very simple interactions. So I would say this is very useful, like almost mandatory even, for if you're gonna go to Japan. At least know like the basics. They'll definitely appreciate you making the effort. And I think this prepares you for most scenarios you would encounter as a traveler to Japan. So it's like you're obviously gonna greet people, and you'll probably have to ask for directions at some point, and then You know, most people, one of the first things they do is go to the konbini at Japan. So it teaches you how to like ask for things at the convenience store and then like order food, um, and ask how much things are. Like these are all like very typical types of interactions you would have as a traveler, which yeah, this course is perfect for that. One thing I really like is towards the end, it does get into um, more like social interactions, like so outside of like ordering food at a restaurant or like asking for directions. The very last unit is kind of like making friends. So it teaches you how to like exchange contact info and then like suggest going out to eat or drink or you know, like expressing your likes and dislikes. Just getting a little bit more personal outside of like worker, like customer to worker interactions. Areas of improvement, largely the same as the ones I made for the Korean course. I wish each lesson started with a quick review of the previous lesson's materials. So like instead of like diving right into the new content with the video lesson, it would be cool if there was like another like module, or I don't know what it's called, but thing that's like quick review, you know, and then you just quickly go over the concept that you learned the previous day to just reinforce that into your memory. What I ended up doing most of the time was just using the smart review feature, which was great in itself. But I just wish it was integrated into like the structured course. One other thing that I have like a critique for is that by the end of this course, I still was definitely not prepared for most of these like role play scenarios. Luckily, I have been using like another app, um, which helped me like do New Friend and then the coffee shop one. I think those are the only two I could barely do. But yeah, for the most part, you're still not going to be ready to have like a full length conversation like in one of these role play scenarios. I imagine I'm going to have to do the intermediate course to start being able to do these because I do remember when I was talking to the people at Speak, they said these are definitely more like once you're advanced. So that makes sense. You just need to know more expressions and more grammar and vocabulary to have a full length conversation. Um, yeah, it feels like more like a prerequisite course. Overall, though, great course. Really excited that I was able to complete this. So I saw that they have now added Beginner Japanese Survival Part 2. But I actually already moved on to the intermediate one before I knew that they added that course because it's like they literally just added that like last week, I think. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna try to get through the intermediate course, and then I'll backtrack and do the beginner course. Hopefully, be able to speedrun that. I do want to challenge myself to go through like more, learn how to navigate more like complex conversations and scenarios. So I'm just gonna push myself to do both the intermediate Japanese and Korean courses on this app from here on out, and we'll see how that goes.